Hi, Tucker. I'm Todd. Hi, Todd. I'm Tucker.
Welcome, Craig.
Hi.
Good evening, Craig, as I always say.
Yes.
Good evening to your shadow figure, second personality, consumed twin thing that you got going on.
Oh yeah, he's the Voldemort on the back of his head.
That sounds like sort of like a Waylon Jennings song or something. The Voldemort on the back of my head.
Whatever.
I think you did that perfectly.
Thank you. And it was with headphones on, so I can't even hear if I'm pitch perfect or not.
That's kind of the thing, is with that genre you don't want to be pitch perfect.
I suppose not. Shall we get into some premise ideas for tonight?
Absolutely, I'm ready to go. Start from the top.
It's a good thing we cut out silence. We're not ready for streaming. What do streamers do when they don't when they need to fill time? How do they vamp?
They interact with chat.
Hey chat, you're all a bunch of weebs and also you are incels and I'm surprised by your lack of empathy.
I did not expect that to go in that direction, but that is one way to interact with your chat.
Literally the only two actual Twitch streamers that I watch are Asmongold for MMO content and Hassan Piker for political commentary.
I like the Sour Kool-Aid show.
What is Sour Kool-Aid?
Sometimes he does stand-up, sometimes he plays games. He's all over the place.
Oh, that's interesting. I like games.
I do too, and I also like stand-up, and he tends to do both of them slightly inebriated. Or very inebriated. Not that I think I should do any of those things inebriated.
Oh, I think I'm actually okay. We come to your out of touch mailman who takes his job far too seriously. He has sirens and lights on his car and treats it like an emergency vehicle that can clear intersections and defy traffic laws because the mail is an emergency.
I really thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna go through what we have written and discussed so far about it because I think we riffed on it in the chat. I said, yeah, at some point he arrests and or pepper sprays someone for trying to rip some mail out of his hand and accidentally opens someone else's mail. That's a federal offense. What? He
The
pepper
he pepper sprays accidentally opened somebody else's mail, I'm assuming. And he goes, "That's a federal offense," and now he's going to take the law into his own hands.
So somebody was trying to rip some mail out of his hand, and I guess they're trying to do that because he was barrel chesting his way through a scenario, and he had he had a whole bunch of mail in his hand. He gets into an altercation.
Maybe he takes his job so seriously that he actually personally delivers mail directly into the hands of its intended recipient. He doesn't use mailboxes. He doesn't leave shit at your door. He puts it right in your hand.
He goes full SWAT and makes a mailman's arrest, probably a battering ram and a government issue Beretta he got in the 90s. Since it isn't legitimately government issued, he's terrified to use it, but he definitely makes a point of mentioning that he has it and probably wears it on his hip next to his pepper spray. Have you seen that video of the guy who is like pretending he's posing as a cop? He's a fake cop, and apparently there's a whole community of people who do this, pretend to be cops and then pull people over. So he pulls the guy over, but it turns out the guy he pulls over is an off-duty cop, and then he gets arrested.
Brutal, but that's exactly what ought to happen if you're screwing with people to that extent. No, I haven't seen that one, but what I have seen is a litany of dash cam footage and chest cam footage of cops meaning to draw their pepper spray, but they actually draw their frickin' pistol and they shoot a perp.
Oh, was that something that you'd seen before the case recently where the taser lady?
Yes, the taser is my favorite example though because it's actually on the other hip. You're supposed to cross draw it specifically so you don't confuse it with your pistol. But they train, they train like 1 hour with the taser versus hundreds with the pistol.
Sure. And then that's so funny though. So there's a whole compilation of people misdrawing when they meant to go for pepper spray.
Pepper spray, tasers. I'll bet you at least one guy reaches for handcuffs and draws a gun.
How often are those lethal? Do they just misdraw or do they also fire?
See, the way that they're trained is that the firing is right at pretty much. I mean, I'm sure plenty don't actually fire, or else those would show up a whole lot more. But the ones that do fire tend to hit right in the center of mass,
It's so fun.
and it's a question of how close you are to medical attention.
Humans are so flawed. I don't know why we get to be in charge of anything.
When you train a reflex arc that many times for that long, where you draw and shoot, eventually it gets harder and harder to just draw.
Yeah, for sure.
And especially if you're trained to for that to be your go-to solution to altercations. And yeah, draw your taser. Whoops, I accidentally shot him twice in the chest now.
Well, even that was another thing. Like, it's funny how we respond to altercations. Anyway, I don't know. I was trained fairly intensely in non-violent intervention in like the most violent circumstances, and then so when all of this stuff started showing up in the news, not to go there, but I mean, my opinion was I don't know why. Yeah, the whole let's use a gun to handle the situation, but also like I told you, I was watching T2 and they are in their goofy insane asylum that they've got constructed in that movie. And there's a point where Linda Hamilton breaks out and knocks out one of the guards, right? And then grabs his stick. And it occurred to me as I was watching that. So that guy is supposed to be sort of like a support worker slash security guard in an insane asylum. And they all have billy clubs. And then I really started thinking about how funny it is that a billy club is anybody's weapon of like authority.
We definitely need the mailman to have a billy club.
He's afraid to use his gun, but he's not afraid to use his billy club?
Does he have real handcuffs or does he only have fuzzy handcuffs?
Okay, so that I mean that is a question. Then we have to establish. Then, are the handcuffs actually part of the job? Do all mailmen have handcuffs, or he's gone out and he's bought some for himself to have? Maybe they're yeah.
This guy is an anomaly and he terrifies everybody.
He has lots of pockets.
Lots of pockets, and he's got a Batman utility belt that's got all of his stuff. He's got a little thing for his cell phone, of course, because he's got to wear it on his belt and his quick draw clip. He's got his handcuffs. He's got his pepper spray. He's definitely got a taser, and he's got his pistol. And somewhere in there, he's got a big belt buckle that has a stupid male related slogan on it.
Okay, we need to work on the slogan. I need to set that aside in my mind. Those are the things that end up getting ironed out when the script gets written.
Yeah. As just as a small aside, I'm glad that you and those in your profession that I won't name are trained in non-violent methods, but most law enforcement is not.
Well, and I mean, even a lot, and that's why I say humans are flawed, is because even in that we are trained in nonviolent professions, but people lose their minds and start developing their own interpretations of like power-based relationships. And then when you get into a situation where you are literally physically in a position of exerting power, your ego, if you're the certain type of person that lets your ego get into it, you start. I mean, it becomes a struggle.
It surely does. And of course, I don't mean to suggest that police don't get any non-violent training, but they do get a lot of firearms training, and they are trained to respond to violence with appropriate violence. And people are almost never appropriate with violence.
You know, we here at the Tucker and Todd show, we're not much in favor of political positions, but our official position is that maybe all cops aren't bastards, but all cops are people.
They definitely are, and all people are bastards.
All people. ACAPAAPAB.
Oh man, I can't begin to spell that.
A capab.
Oh, thanks so much for that. And you know who else is a real bastard? This mailman. Alright, this guy is completely out of control. Anyways, he walks around, he storms around, he's in full combat boots. Of course he is. He's got really loud stomps. Everyone hears him coming down the street. And even a deaf person hears this guy because he's got his belt buckle. He's you can hear him like how he looks. You can just hear how aggressively male oriented this guy is. He walks around with a stack in his hands. That's exactly how somebody else winds up taking the mail from him.
So is this scene operating? Is he in a nice suburb or is he in like an urban city? What's his environment?
It needs to be completely inappropriate for his level of aggression, so it is a very peaceful suburb.
It's like a sleepy town.
Yeah, wherever it is, it has to be where he is the only person in the entire town who's aggressive like that. Nobody else is. Even the police are laid back. Everybody.
And so because in this town he is sort of recognized as the village idiot, are people the straight man to his behavior, or are they all kind of like it's all blasé, they're done with it. They just tolerate it.
Well, here's the thing, could it be that they are, in fact, so laid back that they kind of just tolerate it? They don't necessarily like it, but maybe they're just so polite that they won't try to say anything about it.
And so is there a new mailman in town? Is that where we establish some sort of conflict?
I thought we were going to establish a conflict by somebody grabbing mail out of this guy's hands in a bit of a hurry and accidentally damaging mail that's not theirs, and thus they invoke the wrath of this mailman. They call down the whirlwind.
Okay, so is the sketch then sort of about this specific situation in which he gets triggered?
I mean, a lot of the sketch might actually just be him walking down the street looking as ridiculous as he does, because he absolutely looks out of place. Of course, there's going to be this conflict with this person. Haven't decided who this person is. Probably middle-aged dad. Never go wrong with middle-aged dad.
Okay, so we set him up by having him visiting different like businesses and locations and being extra, and then people responding him to like a sign, an eye roll sort of thing. A little. Do we give each person a little wry remark?
Either they make a remark, or we actually introduce something we've never done before, which is like a little speech bubble over their head that represents like their thoughts, and you just do like that aggressive squiggly line thing that looks like just
The
like an angry
squiggly
thought.
line thing, or I guess that is very peanuts-ish, or I was gonna say like emojis, angry emojis.
Yeah, could do that. Just if we want to simplify the use of things like facial expressions or cut down on the amount of different voices for characters that will never show up again.
Sure, I like that
Voices.
idea, and also like,
Yeah.
maybe even doing kind of a play on the having, as you said, that speech bubble come up, and then having non-lingual verbal utterances as the thing. So like an angry emoji or an angry squiggle, and then in the soundtrack like a
Ah, one of those. Just like a sort of nondescript kind of disgruntled sound. Just displeasure.
yeah. What is the Sims language called?
I have no idea. I'm gonna assume it's a pun on Sims, but that is exactly what I'm referring to, and I assume that's what you're referring to.
Yeah, sort of a little nonsense emotive verbalization.
Yeah, and that's very easy to put in for sure. But yeah, I think like a little, especially if they're being polite and trying to keep at least most of their sentiment to themselves, then a little like thought bubble enables you to see inside their mind.
Well, because they all kind of know at this point that it's not worth it to get into it with them. And then we're going to see some. Maybe we're seeing somebody who is new in town. Maybe that's the established. It's a guy that's new in town, and then he establishes the conflict.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody who's from outside of this established order and doesn't realize that the only winning strategy is not to play.
And so that's why he rushes him. Is the mailman is introducing himself and kind of going through his little monologue of all of his rules, and then the guy is kind of in a hurry, so he grabs the mail out of his hand, and that's when it rips and becomes a problem.
Yeah, something like that, because middle-aged dad, he's got kids. He's got to go. He doesn't have time for this mailman who thinks he's the most important person from a long ways around.
I mean, maybe this middle-aged dad has one of our assassin adopted children.
That's perfect. That could not be more perfect. And that is also exactly the kind of kid you really need to hurry back to, because if you take your eyes off of them for too long, the democracy could fall apart.
The Tucker and Todd extended cinematic universe is quite a thing.
Yeah, some of these kids are definitely Soviet agents.
Actually, yeah, maybe this is specifically the other dad that we cut away to in that Russian children sketch.
I think that would be an excellent kind of connection to make, and it also, if we ever make both sketches, then we can reuse the prop.
Yeah, exactly. I see no reason not to think like that.
Connect things as much as possible, even if it's not always reasonable.
And then it's like fun little Easter eggs for our hardcore day ones.
So you and me.
Yeah, pretty much. And our mom.
All right. So the mail gets snatched out of the. Oh, I want to call this guy the mail cop, almost as a joke on like all the mall cop stuff, because that was a meme for a while. So this guy's the mail cop. Mail gets snatched out of his hand, and one of them tears. Let's say it tears just like super slightly, almost innocuous.
Sorry, what was innocuous? I was trying to think of plays on Paul Blart Mall Cop. I was thinking of calling him Pale Fart Mail Cop.
Yeah, he has to make it very clear that it's spelled MAIL. Thank you. It's unisex. And then yeah, so the damage to the other letter, the one that doesn't belong to middle-aged dad, is super minimal. Like it's like a scratch. It's like a tiny tear, like a little tuft of paper fiber has been removed from it. But mail cop here thinks that that's mail tampering and that shit's a felony and you're going down.
Yeah, it's like the slightest corner of the licked down flap comes up, peels up from the edge.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, this is an opportunity to use our Ren and Stimpy like excessively close zoom in.
Yeah, just like not only do we zoom in, but then like a magnifying glass comes in out of frame so that you zoom in even more.
There's like hairs and ticks on it and whatnot.
Yeah, we have to get that close to see where the damage has been done. But the male cop, he has instincts for this kind of thing.
And so he's enraged. And does he draw a weapon immediately? Does he draw his pepper spray immediately, or does he like kind of point and make a warning accusation first?
He makes an accusation. He definitely says tampering with the mail, that's a felony. And I assume middle-aged dad is confused. He just says, What are you talking about?" And then male cop has to point to this tiny, minuscule, almost imperceptible damage, and he says, "Right here. Are we gonna have a problem?" And then he has to have like a jacket or something on that's open, and then he kind of flips it out of the way to reveal his gun.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Does middle-aged dad sort of laughs it off at first? He assumes that he's joking, like, "Haha, good one." And then that's when he says, "Are you giving me an attitude, sir?"
Yeah, it's got to be the attitude comment.
And that's when the gun is revealed. And that's when the dad is kind of like really startled.
On the other hand, if this dad happens to have one of those super psychotic children, he might be a little bit jaded by now. So he actually might not be very impressed by some hooligan with a pistol.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Maybe this. So, is this the direction that it's going? Is that the mail? At first, is this a scene where? So it turns out that the mailman isn't actually the most dangerous person in the area. The dad is actually an experienced. He is Linda Hamilton from Tier 2. He's all T2. He's all weaponed up.
Actually, I would say his kid is the most dangerous person, and he gets serious marks for continuing to exist in the same domicile as that kid, but he's simply not afraid because this male cop is less intimidating than what he deals with on a daily basis. Like he poured cereal this morning for something scarier than this idiot with a gun.
Is this information that first of all, is this information that's necessary to convey to make this work, or so the mailman threatens the dad, and then is the dad just like, oh, you think you can threaten me sort of attitude?
No, no, I have a better idea. Of course, the mailman reveals the pistol. He draws his jacket out of the way so that we can see it holstered because he loves to show it to people. And middle-aged dad is actually very concerned, but not for his own well-being. He tells this male cop, "You need to leave right now, because if somebody else sees this guy drawing a pistol around here, there's gonna be chaos."
Oh yes, he is terrified because okay, yeah, because he needs to tell the mailman, yeah, if he's not saying it specifically or explicitly, but if the kid sees and gets his hand on the gun, then everybody's in grave danger.
And the first person who's in grave danger is the male cop. And so middle-aged dad is actually afraid on his behalf, but he can't really tell him why. He's just like, "You're in terrible danger if you don't get out of here." And of course, male cop's like, "Are you threatening me?"
Right, are you threatening me or are you trying to like bribe me? He's misreading the situation.
Yeah, what we've got here is classic cartoon misunderstanding. So out of frame, do we like hear this evil child be like, "Daddy"?
And then the mailman escalates it from there. He's like, "Have you got another perp with you?" or something, whatever phraseology he uses.
Yeah, we're gonna have to work on his phraseology because it's always got to be like male related.
Oh, recipient. Is there another recipient in the house?
I like that.
And that's
That's
when the
good.
dad he takes a step forward and he's like, "Keep your voice down. Don't let him hear you." And that's when the mailman pulls the weapon.
Yes, definitely. As soon when this guy, steps into his personal space, terrified mailman activates. He's now the one who's afraid, so he draws. Don't come any closer, man. But yeah, the evil kid's gotta come at this point. Right now, that evil kid is Chekhov's gun, but nobody can see it, but we know it's there.
The evil kid shows up with the gun drawn on his father.
Could it be that the male cop is actually enough of a stupid bastard to point the gun at the kid as soon as the kid comes into the frame? Is he that afraid of this sudden appearance of this thing?
I'm trying to figure out how, because this is going to turn into a Mexican standoff trope, and I'm trying to figure out how we do a spin on it in the cleverest, funniest, subvertiest way. Who kills who when you're least expecting who to be killed?
Well, at this point, we haven't necessarily. I mean, I assume we've kind of hinted at it strongly, but we haven't clearly established that this kid is one of those super murderer sleeper agents. So at this point, it's still the kid is the least likely suspect.
Is this going to end in with there's a kind of a because the kid has his own weapons as we established in the previous one, they have their own weapons. So at a certain point,
Oh yeah, you shake them out and weapons just start falling out of their pockets, like right out of their stupid little coveralls.
right, so the kid has like a blunderbuss or something drawn on the mailman, and then it ends with there was actually another mailman showed up that we didn't know about and shot the kid. There was backup.
Are you? I don't know if we should have a second mailman with a gun. I think that diminishes the first one a little.
Is it somebody?
Do we want the mailman to survive?
Oh, is there a dog with a gun?
Oh, I like that. This little kid is so evil that it trained a dog to be evil and violent and carry firearms.
Well, I was playing more on the dogs because I was going to say maybe there's somebody else in town who's like the most escalated version of their profession. Because the first thought I had was like a gardener. Maybe a gardener shoots the mailman, and he's like the most crazy elevated gardener around, and he's all crazed and whatever. And then I was like thinking, who hates mailmen? Is there a profession that hates mailmen? And thought dogs chase mailmen.
Is there an anti-mailman?
Yeah, what's the anti-mailman? Is it literally the female man?
Oh, come on. It's unisex.
I like that a lot. It's the female man. She shows up. She's got a shirt on that says "female man," and she kills the mailman. And everybody looks at her and questions her title. And she screams it's unisex, and she kills everybody.
I mean, the mailman is an acceptable target at this point because he just pointed a gun at a kid, or at least what everybody thinks is a kid. Only we seem to know that that's actually a full-grown adult murderer.
I mean, or maybe somebody kills the middle-aged dad, and it's neither of the people who had the gun pointed. I want it to be a surprise. I want it to be a jaw-dropping surprise.
Well, I definitely like the female man, so the female cop can definitely get involved. Is she going to shoot the male cop then? She's not here to back him up. She's here to replace him. She heard he was hardcore. He doesn't look that hardcore.
That's interesting. Is she like super hardcore?
Yeah, this entire town just got an even worse male person.
So she looks like the Jane Lynch character in Wreck-It Ralph. Like she's, am I thinking of the right thing? Like she's like a Michelle Rodriguez character.
I don't know. I'm looking at her face right now, and I definitely see a female man.
Whose face?
Jane Lynch.
Yeah. Actually, she is perfect for the female man.
Yeah, she is. And she also looks like she might be a candidate for the Council of the Karens.
Yeah, you're totally right.
Which is just another excuse to reuse that prop.
Oh yeah, why not? That prop with like an army helmet on.
Yeah, okay. So the female man has now, or does she shoot the mailman, or does she like shoot the gun out of his hand without damaging the envelopes that he's carrying, of course? Like, does she actually do him in so that she can engage with him and say that she's here to replace him, or does she just kill him and say that there's a new female man in town?
Well, I'm trying to think because it would be good. This seems like a good if she is sort of going to be super hardcore, and it's almost like an action moment. She's almost Rambo, right? It would be cool if she had a super lame pun right here, and I was thinking it would be something along the lines of like, you could say he's now postman.
Yeah, okay. If you don't have your one liner, you're hardly an action hero. You're not even hardcore. But yeah, now he's a postman. That's pretty good.
So because I mean, in that case, he would have to be dead, right? I,
Well, yeah, if he is now postman, he's dead. But yeah, she can definitely like say it and then like blow the smoke out of her pistol, which is like all custom tooled and has grips that like I don't know look like mailboxes.
maybe somebody after she says he's postman, somebody kind of like kicks his foot, gives it a nudge, and says, "Yep, stiff as a post." And somebody interrupts that and says, "All right, enough." And then somebody interrupts that with one more mailman pun.
I'm trying to think of the order of operations here. Somebody definitely has to cut it off, and then somebody has to like be like, "Sorry, I'm late." He looks like, because like they weren't there to be told not to continue.
It's an out of breath representative from the post office.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's delayed delivery, an additional joke. He came as fast as he could, though. But yeah, he's got to deliver yet another. Are we gonna make them all post puns?
I don't know if they were all post puns. The stiff as a post was the first one that I thought of. Now I'm wondering if maybe it was something along the lines of, "Wow, looks like his soul's been expedited."
Perhaps you could say his stamp's been licked.
I like that a lot.
Mine?
And so, and because
Oh.
the female man was, it's gonna make me laugh every time, was extra hardcore. Her gun is bigger, so she like blew a hole through his chest with a shotgun.
Oh yeah, yeah. He there's just like a comic hole where his chest cavity used to be. It's smoking, and he kind of falls over, but the mail is undamaged.
Is there a scene we cut to later, him being lowered into the ground in a mailbox?
And then as soon as the grave is full, the little thing goes up.
Yes, yes, please.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Man, I kind of want us to, at some point to have like a mailman assassin who uses a letter opener as his weapon.
From a couple of scars, I can tell you that those things are fucking dangerous.
I believe you.
Not nearly as dangerous as my own incompetence with a letter opener, but pretty dangerous.
Maybe that's what there's all sorts of that's as we cut to the funeral. There's all sorts of wackadoo dangerous mailman characters.
Oh yeah, those will be the only people that'll come to this guy's funeral. Is an assortment of various levels of hardcore, takes it too seriously, male people,
It's literally
including a couple of female.
it's the Expendables, but it's either the Sendables or the Expeditables. But I think we already used that.
Yeah, I think. Oh, I almost want to say Return to
The return.
Sendables.
I was coming up with that as you said it. Return to Sendables.
Hey, that's wide open sequel.
Yeah, definitely. Return to Sendables again.
The returning again. Oh, obviously the first film has to be called Descendables, and then the second one is Return to Sendables.
Oh, right, obviously.
Obviously.
Can't return to Sendables. Still can't return to Sendables. The reboot,
It's
please
almost-
return to Sendables.
There's like unlimited potential for this. All right, so she blew a hole through the mailman. I assume that at this very moment, actually no, a middle-aged dad does not take this moment to flee for cover. He's the first guy to make a pun. He's the one who kicks the dead mailman after the female man makes her first one-liner. So middle-aged dad makes the follow-up joke, and then he starts running for cover because this kid is about to get out of control, and I don't know, maybe the female cop is going to put him out of his own misery, or rather kill this kid that's not actually a kid if he doesn't get him back inside.
Or does he, because he knows the danger, he runs over to the female man and knocks her down, like saves her, and then they have like that's their meet cute, and they fall in love.
Oh, you mean they make eye contact and have a moment while he's lying on top of her after he's, brought her down to the ground to evade, I don't know, a thrown meat cleaver or something.
Well, yeah, and then as you hear like the slowed down slow motion gunshots in the background, that's you have the slow jazz music playing and the sparkle sound effects as they look into each other's eyes.
Oh yeah, sweet, smooth saxophone.
And because they're both so hardcore, she finally found somebody who understands how hardcore the world is, and he found somebody who can understand the trauma that comes with his child, and so they're finally able to take on the child together.
And then you get to hear that record screech stop as this other guy from the mail shows up to make his delayed one-liner. That's how that moment ends.
Oh yeah, the sound effects, the dreamy sound effects fade out as panting sound effects fade in.
Yeah, but I definitely want to do the record skip.
Yeah, you think that the panting sound effects is sexy, and then they get louder and louder, and it's obviously neither one of them. And that's when the record sound effects happen.
They also have to take a moment to give each other a significant glance as they're like, "That's not me, is that you?" They both briefly think that either one or the other is panting from the intense whirlwind of passion. It's electrical. And then no, they actually realize that there's just another guy who's panting as he catches his breath to deliver this new joke.
Deliver a joke over the dead guy next to them.
It's what he would have wanted. Anyways, he finishes his joke, and then we just immediately cue to his funeral where they're lowering him into the dirt, and the Sendables are all over the place. And they drop him into his mailbox, and then ching, the little mailbox is, you have mail stick sign is
Okay,
up.
maybe so that's how we get it. We have that joke. We have a wide establishing shot of the funeral. We do the joke of the mailbox with the ka-ching going up, and then we cut to all of the people. We kind of zoom in on all of the people of the funeral, and that's when we realize that they're all sort of action hero mailmen characters. And then we get the title card slams down with the title of The Expendables coming July 16th.
Yeah, absolutely. This entire thing has just been like a really roundabout trailer for a blockbuster action film. coming this summer. Oh, coming to your mailbox this summer. Fuck. It's got everything has to be mail puns.
Yeah, delivered to your mailbox by
By gun.
gun.
Yeah, I guess we're filming in Montana.
That's actually that's not the line, but it's actually very funny. Delivered to your mailbox by gun. We're gonna shoot you up in a movie. That sounds like something that Chip Chipperson would say.
Yeah. All right. I've never done a movie trailer before. I certainly never done one by accident before.
Oh, I thought that was funny. I'm eating again. Sorry, god damn it.
Cookie munching bastard.
Okay, that's the end of that one?
I think, once that little title drops and we get the coming to your mailbox, no, delivered to your mailbox this summer. That's pretty much the end of the trailer. It's now a trailer, but it's also got this interesting tie-in to our murderous adults that look like children film.
Oh, so is the other Murderous Children then also a trailer that comes after this one? Do we do a couple trailers?
We certainly could, and doing it that way around might actually make this murderous child more funny if murderous children aren't like revealed as a thing and then you find this murderous kid, but instead it's the other way around where you see this murderous kid and you think it's an anomaly, but then just like with all the hardcore male cops at the funeral, you now see this entire adoption center that's full of these murderous adults that look like children, and then that's a thing now.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe when the middle-aged father in that bit, maybe we do a little tiny bit of exposition in that bit where he says, "Yeah, I adopted this kid, and it turned out to be a grown-up assassin from Yugoslavia."
He can definitely say the kid's an assassin. I don't want him to mention that the kid's actually an adult just yet. Although, since oh, see, here's the thing: is in the sketch with the orphans, the assassin orphans, our primary character actually calls this guy, and the guy picks. Oh, did we decide he never picked up the
We
phone?
decided that he couldn't because he was busy with his own kid. I just don't know if we ever established in any way whether we established that the kids aren't actually kids.
I'm pretty sure we just flat out had to declare it such.
I mean, I suppose if it was visual, then they could be little kid bodies with little kid clothes, and then just old ass faces.
Including one of them just has like a full beard and nobody bats an eye.
They've all got like wrinkled skin and warts for the hairs on them and stuff.
One of them is bald, and he's got those marks on his head,
He looks like an old priest.
liver spots. But suppose that in fact this friend answers the phone, but somebody comes to the door,
Oh, that's interesting.
and it's the mailman, and he has to go. And so in the mailman sketch, we can actually hear the very end of that conversation from the outside of the door.
Which one comes first?
The mailman sketch. So you'll hear the end of that conversation, and you won't know what came before it, but you will understand the context of that conversation in the following.
This is beautiful. Yes, I like that a lot.
So rather than not being able to answer at all, he answers, but he can't help because he has to go. Sorry, I can't help you.
And then in the other sketch, we hear that conversation. Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. I can't help you. The door's ringing. We all have our own assassin children to deal with. All right, you'll figure it out. Anyways, I gotta go.
Perfect.
And that's the part we can hear from outside. He definitely has to call it an assassin child. And then yes, the following trailer can be our now modified sketch of the Adult Orphan Assassination League or whatever they are.
Which is not in any way. I like neither of these have the aesthetic of trailers. We just throw titles on the end and go, "Ha! See, it was a trailer."
Yeah, they proceed like as sketches, as just like little short stories, and then we just throw the title right on the end and just pretend that makes it a trailer.
This is beautiful. Yes. Okay.
That means that at least one time in the future, we have to do a sketch where it seems like we're getting ready to drop the trailer title to establish that it's actually a trailer the whole time, and then not do that.
I mean, I guess you would have to. So you're setting it up to appear as though it is a trailer, or are you saying in this run, you change the joke when it seems like a pattern's been established?
Yeah, either in this run or later on, we kind of give contextual clues to indicate that it's going to be another trailer, and then it's something else. Like we just fucking
You
bookend
have a
it.
voiceover with dissolved from black to a gentle panning camera, and the voiceover is like, Carol was just another girl from a little town, and then you're going back and forth from dialogue the way that they cut trailers, and then how does it not be a trailer?
By doing the Monty Python maneuver where something funny happens and we just immediately cut to black.
Oh, something funny happens. Something breaks the fourth wall.
Yeah, something like that. Like something totally unexpected, something that completely either that or we have like an immediate transition, like somebody else comes by and completely takes over the sketch. Like Columbo shows up and like, oh my god, you won't believe what's happening over here, and then we immediately leave everything behind and go follow Columbo.
Oh, that'd be funny if Columbo actually thinks the camera crew making the trailer is like paparazzi.
Interesting. What would he want them to see?
Well, he wouldn't want to. He'd run up and he'd say, "I told you people to stop following me," and he throws their cameras on the floor.
Oh, that's an excellent way to just completely end the sketch and also like the entire thing because nothing else comes after that. He destroyed the camera crew.
Right? Yeah.
Roll credits.
And it also shows. It also kind of gives this weird peek into how Columbo is very vain, but also he does actually have people with cameras following him, and why?
Probably because of all the crazy shit he keeps getting caught with us doing.
Yeah, of course. And so the place that we've gotten to, if we're happy with that, in our list here is, since we were doing trailers anyway, one of the next ideas I had was an idea for a movie. I had said, so the original idea that I had was that a chat show like Comedians in Cars, but it's a cop interviewing a bad guy in the back of a car. And that had originally come from a buddy cop slash road trip movie in which two cops chase a bad guy across the country. So it's like a chase scene, but they literally start in New York and end up in LA. And it's the two cops, even though they don't have jurisdiction. It's a buddy cop movie, but it takes place inside a car the entire time. They have to keep stopping for gas and snacks and whatnot, but they chase the guy the entire way across.
Okay, so they're not actually interviewing the bad guy in the car, they're chasing after him, or is the interview the drive back?
I think the interview might be a different thing. So yeah, so the because these are two different kind of like genre plays. So the interview would be like Comedians in Cars, where there's audience laughter and there's literally they're aware of the camera in the car and they're talking to each other and interviewing each other like it is supposed to be entertaining. So that's a totally different thing. This would be a trailer for a movie, which is a buddy cop slash road trip movie in which the buddy cops are on a road trip.
And the entire set and setting is actually restricted to the interior of this car. The camera doesn't even follow them as they leave to go get snacks. It stays in the car. They're gone, and it's just dead air still going as they're in the gas station doing whatever.
Yeah, because I think it might be maybe it's like a found footage. It's their like car camera that captures the whole thing.
And so it's an entire dialogue piece of just these two guys being buddy cops. Like it's all of the non-action stuff that buddy cops do.
Sort of. And so it's sort of like a my dinner with is that my dinner with Andre sort of thing. It's a dialogue piece. And then but I mean the dialogue every now and then comes back to, wow, he really just doesn't stop, does he?
Oh yeah, and they all have to be taking a fairly leisurely pace. Like it's not even it's not a touch and go chase. He's driving slightly above the speed limit, and these cops are like, well, he's not going so fast. We can just follow him.
Well, yeah, exactly. They can make a comment about how scrutiny has been so punishing lately. We can't afford to make any wrong moves. We got to go soft on this guy.
And also not cause any accidents by encouraging him to go even faster.
Right. Think about the collateral damage.
So they stop for gas and snacks at the same time.
Yeah, they just whatever he does, they give him the leeway.
Are you thinking about turning yourself in then? Nope, just getting some Pringles.
Oh yeah, that's their tactic. They're just so. Any second thoughts about turning back yet?
Oh, they're just giving him opportunities to stop, but he's like, no, just getting gas and some, I don't know, a hot dog, and then we're good to go.
Maybe yeah. If they're from they're like they're like Fargo cops, so they are Midwestern. Maybe they're Canadian. I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking Fargo cops, like just very polite and also, you know, laid back and a little languid in how they go about procedure.
Well, I mean, we could literally. I don't know if we're using the term shout out, but we could reference Fargo and they could make a comment on how, oh, we seen them in those videos of how they chase fellas down and shoot them and all whatnot, but that's just not how we do things here in Brainerd.
I'm perfectly happy with that, and I'm also perfectly happy to make a less subtle nod by at least once driving by a wood chipper that has part of a guy hanging out of it.
Sure, why not?
Just the leg.
Is Stan? Oh, the leg. There's something about left feet and Columbo in there.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I can't believe I didn't consider that. I stumbled right into it. Obviously, there's a wood chipper with a left foot hanging out of it, and just like casually as we're passing by, we'd see Columbo sneak out and just take it. We definitely don't need to give it any fanfare. Columbo just up and steals this left foot that's hanging out of a wood chipper.
Okay, it's very quick and in the background. It's a little Easter egg.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's both a reference to Columbo's love of left feet while also being like a little tiny love letter to the original Fargo.
Okay, so these are two Midwestern cops, and they're very wholesome, and they keep coming up trying to with. Come on, bud. Think about what your mom would say.
Oh man, I think about that all the time. Anyway,
Heh, heh.
What? So what happens to? So they get across the country.
I'll tell you exactly what happens. He Forrest Gumps it, where he just eventually gets tired of running.
Oh, he gets tired of running, but they realize because they're from the Midwest and they've left the snow, so they get to California, and he says, "You know what? I think I'm just tired of running. I'm going to go back." And they decide to stay.
They encourage him to stay a while longer because they've never been here before.
Oh, come on and stay, but the water is so warm.
So yes, it's gonna turn into the perp film anyway. But they convince him to stay with them. I don't know, for a weekend.
Well, because they've actually had so many conversations at so many rest stops and gas stations that they're actually friends now.
Maybe not friends, but certainly friendly. The interview during the drive back, that's when they become friends.
Oh, so do they all go back together then? Is that part of the same thing?
Oh yeah, I see. Remember, the correct answer is always both.
Oh, while they're in California, that's when they come up with the concept for the show that they make on the way back.
Yeah. It's a couple of cops and a criminal in a car.
Good news, bud. We came out here. We got ourselves a deal.
I can't get over how funny it is if they like stop at the rest stops together and just kind of gently encourage him to get in their car instead of his.
They don't even get out of their car. They've just got the windows down and they're pleading with them.
Well, no, like maybe they have to go in and get snacks too. Like what the this runner and one of the cops are walking side by side right into the gas station, looking at snacks in the same aisle, and one is saying to the other an encouragement that he should just turn himself in. What would your mom say?
Yeah, they're perusing snacks in the same aisle. They're standing in line, one in front of the other. They're filling up gas at like parallel gas station. What are they called? Pumps.
Yeah, parallel pumps, and it's just they have every opportunity to arrest this guy, but they just keep trying to gently and politely encourage him to turn himself in. And so the
They're-
interactions at the rest stops are going to be where 90% of the fun is.
Well, yeah, because they're sitting on neighboring toilets. They're in neighboring stalls at a rest stop, and you see one of them. One of them's there's a glory hole going on in the one next door.
Brutal. That would really upset these clean, wholesome Midwestern boys.
Actually, maybe it's not that there's a glory hole going on in one of the ones next door. That's when we have one of our what is it? The diagonal censorship bars that comes through a hole in the wall.
That's still pretty overt. Maybe we should just have just the hole in the wall and it just says insert here.
It's
I
got it's got a sign taped over it, something like max capacity.
oh, and I assume that somebody has to explain to one of our clean, wholesome Midwestern boys what that is. And then at the very end, they're like, "I've learned so much."
No, or maybe they are because they are confused. There's no label. He thinks it's like a garbage receptacle, so he like wads up his toilet paper and he shoves it in the hole, and you just hear somebody choking.
Somebody was on the other end, ready to receive, huh? That's awful.
You just hear.
I never want to actually see or know what's on the other side, but I'm definitely happy that someone is choking.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Okay, so during one of the rest stops, our sweet Midwestern boys encounter a glory hole and mistakenly just shove a wad of toilet paper into it and choke an unsuspecting, who knows, thrill seeker.
A thrill seeker, yeah, a gambler.
That's exactly what they are. That's a gamble if I ever heard one.
Yeah, I play a different kind of slot machine.
Sometimes it feeds you toilet paper.
I'll give the handle a tug.
And I assume at that point, the runner actually tells these Midwestern cops that it's probably time to get out of the bathroom stalls before whoever's in there comes out and finds out what's actually going on. Good advice. That's what they'll think that is. They'll think it's good advice. So they all leave together, and and the runner briefly pretends like he's going in the direction of their vehicle. He pretends like he's about to go with them, and he's like, ah, psych, and he goes back to his own car.
Oh, and so as he's doing that, are they slightly? They're getting as he gets kind of like a warmer as he gets closer and closer to their car. They're going oh, and then as he goes the other direction, they go oh.
And then they point the finger guns. Oh, you.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, you. So the cops are Tucker and Todd, right? But they're doing the voices.
Yeah, yeah.
I like the idea of them in police uniforms doing the double guns.
Well, yeah, especially because the height differential means that they can do them on a parallel plane, just like right above each other.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, so they get to California. They hang out for a little bit. They blend in and mingle with the Hollywood set. They get a development deal to tape their own show, which they're going to make inside their car, where they interview people like comedians in cars. It's convicts in cars?
Convicts in a car.
Convicts in a car.
Might even have like a little subtext that says sometimes, usually just one convict.
Getting questioned. A convict in a car getting questioned.
Yeah, you know what? You might as well just describe it as exactly what it is.
Well, it's a sort of a play. I can't remember the proper linguistic term for like getting coffee is the process of acquiring coffee, but getting questioned is the process of being questioned.
Should they get coffee too?
They get coffee, but it's blurred out.
Ooh, yeah, censored coffee. I like that. And of course their ride home to return this perp to jail or wherever he's got to go. That's their very first interview with their new best friend.
Do we do a time lapse? And they never actually had any questions because they couldn't think of any because they're not very good at this.
Yeah, that, and they've already asked him a lot of questions as they were talking at the rest stops, and they can't think of anything else.
Oh yeah, so we just do a time lapse, TikTok sound effects, sunset, sunrise, sunset, sunrise. Time passes by, click, 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 and then they go. Honestly, I asked all the questions on the way out.
Yeah, cops look at each other. Can you think of anything else to say? Nah.
The audience boos.
That is a boo. The guys have run out of stuff to talk about because they've been chasing this guy for like a few days, and then they just like hung out for a weekend in California just because it was nice.
And then instead of doing the way that they do a movie title tease coming July, we do a big noisy TV ad coming Thursdays this August.
Convicts, sometimes one convict, in a car, always the same car, being questioned.
And then there's just a big graphic that goes over that says canceled.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. Never even got its boots off the ground.
Much like the famed pilot of Heil Honey, I'm Home, which, I
Ooh.
mean, it got a couple boots off the ground, but the show didn't.
Oh, that's awful and bad.
But clever.
Admittedly, it is clever.
So that's that one.
I think I have one more in me.
Okay. Oh, did we want to do how we acquired the plot advancing trousers of bottomless pockets?
Ah, interesting. Now, first, before we discuss how we got them, let's discuss exactly what they are.
Well, I imagine that they are a pair of pants.
Naturally.
I envision them because they came out of a role playing game. So, I mean, in the role playing game, that to me sounds like a fairly blue item. So I don't think that they're just like canvas rag pants. I think that they're kind of nice.
Maybe they probably look stupid. Like, they can be nice, but like they don't match any of your other outfits, so they're always kind of like glaring and obvious.
Do they have like are they sort of have I don't know the proper term, but like an Aladdin pant, they're kind of cinched around the ankle and then they billow out up there a little bit gaudy like that.
I want to call those parachute pants.
I guess yeah, parachute pant is the proper term. They parachute.
I think that's okay, but only if it also has the goofy slippers, and they're mandatory, like with the curly toe.
Right.
This is the price you pay for always being able to drive the plot forward.
To drive the what?
The plot.
Oh, I understand.
These pants are full of plot contrivances.
And they come with a pair of shoes?
Yeah, but they don't do anything. They're actually just like. Turns out they're actually attached to the pants. Like these pants are like footy pajamas, but they're just for your lower half.
That'd be funny if it was a plot advancing onesie.
I actually like that better than the pants, but like a onesie needs to have pockets.
Yeah, it's a onesie with a bunch of pockets.
Does it have bunny ears or panda ears?
I think it has bunny ears because I think I would want to reserve panda ears for rave culture visual references someday.
All right, so it's a onesie complete with hood and its footy, so it's just a full onesie, and it's got a bunch of pockets, and it's super embarrassing to wear, but it also allows you to push any plot forward that you need, which is why you keep it.
Yeah, because I think the feet, it's a whole costume, right? Almost. The feet are big rabbit feet as well.
Oh, they gotta be like stupid ass rabbit feet, like walking in stupid flippers.
And it's got a little cotton tail on it too.
At this point, Tucker sent Todd an image in the Discord of Ben Shapiro wearing a pink bunny costume.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not happy to wear it, but you have to.
It's a wet ass P word.
Oh man, that was a good sketch too.
I can't tell you how funny the art for the giant. So I think for that, just to tangent slightly, I'm literally going to take old like 50s Godzilla footage and then just green screen a cartoonish drawing of a vagina with a couple hairs on it over top of the Godzilla in that footage.
And pixelate the shit out of the vagina.
Yeah.
In fact, that could very well be where Joshua's face blur ended up.
Maybe. Well, I mean, I'm curious to see if you just have a cartoonish with few details drawing, if that actually needs to be censored.
It might not need to be, but it might still actually, frankly, the content is going to get it age restricted anyway, flagged as mature.
Right.
So I don't know for sure, but I also think it might actually be a little funnier with a bit of a blur.
Sure. Yeah, just the tiny. Yeah. Actually, yeah, the tiniest bit of blur. I mean, the way that because they are all flat colors, they don't pixelate the way that actual photorealistic images do. So, like Joshua was still super identifiable because it just sort of pixelated the outline.
Yeah, and I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, so that'll work. I like it. So we were talking about this costume. It's got the rabbit tail. It's embarrassing. I think when whoever is wearing it, Stan is always making fun of them.
Oh yeah, naturally. Stan is smug about it, and he thinks it's stupid as hell. But that's the physical properties of this what has now become a complete onesie. We've completely abandoned pants. This is now the onesie of plot contrivances. What are its abilities for real? What does it really do? You reach into the pocket. What do you pull out, and why?
Well, because the way that you had sort of described it was you said like that you're in a building on fire and you pull something out to help you with the building on fire and you pull out marshmallows on a stick. And so that is
Okay, monkey paw wishes.
monkey paw wishes.
Yeah, the monkey paw story. You make a wish, and technically your wish comes true, but it's be careful what you wish for,
Oh,
because
there's a consequence.
you never actually get what you really want. You just get what you ask for. Monkey paw wishes, they're always ugly.
Yeah, so you get so yeah, because pulling out because it would need to be a
A stick and a marshmallow is perfectly appropriate for a fire.
right. So would the association between what you pull out and your situation be that similar every time? So like, what's another dire situation? You had a house on fire. What's another situation that you would need help in?
Somebody is chasing you with a gun.
And so you're in a mall and you're being chased with a gun, and so you try to go up the elevator, but the elevator's too slow, so you whip around and you pull something out of the onesie.
It's a rope with like a shitty grappling hook.
Oh, it's the rope from Clue. It's a big stiff plastic facsimile of a coiled rope.
Either that, or it's just like a little notice that your funeral expenses have been paid for.
It's a body bag.
Like, it has to be something that's appropriate to the situation, but limited in its usefulness in that situation. Until we actually need a plot contrivance to move things forward, in which case it gives the right thing, but most of the time it just gives whatever's appropriate but useless.
Okay, so is there a visual or a dialogue reference in some way to its stats in some way or inventory slots?
Oh, it could have like a little tag on it somewhere that says "Do not remove" that happens to include a detailed list of its stats, and somebody removes it, and it's lost.
Oh, I like the do not remove because what I'm trying to think of is like a you know how you would hover, like I'm trying to think of a way to represent a tooltip,
Yeah, that's what that tag is. That's the tooltip.
and it has the title with like it's either green text or blue text. Maybe it's green text since it is an embarrassing onesie. It's green text.
No, it's definitely got to be blue text. I guarantee you, if you go play a classic MMO, there are some really embarrassing looking pieces of equipment that are blue or even purple.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, it's blue text then.
Yes, if it were purple, it would be consistently useful. It's blue, it's inconsistently useful.
And then it has a chance on use with a reference to the fact that it might not always work.
Yeah, results are unpredictable, but it has a chance on use to drive your personal plot forward. Use at your own risk. So, one day you can reach into a pocket and pull out the goddamn Infinity Gauntlet, or another day you can reach into the pocket and, you know, like you get down on one knee and you take your girlfriend to a fancy restaurant. You get down on one knee and you reach into your pocket and you like pull out a handkerchief.
A makeup remover wipe.
Or like a signed declaration that you and your buddies just joined a band.
And then, because I think the way that we came up with this was we were describing our Moroccan bazaar scene with our Indiana Jones ripoff. And I was saying I would ask for you to hand me my whip. And you were saying I pull it out of a pocket or whatever. And the pocket would be this plot advancing onesie.
Yeah, yeah. Either Tucker has it on, or or you know, reaching into its pockets when it's not on somehow makes it even more dubiously useful. But he reaches into a pocket and yeah, just pulls out a can of Cool Whip.
Maybe that's what it's sort of like a reference to, like, oh, hand me the whip from the onesie. And you go, I don't have time to put it on or whatever. Like somebody needs to make a reference to the fact that it works best when it's on. It doesn't, it's less effective if you're not wearing it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Or I mean, the other option is that not you or I is wearing it, but we tell Stan to wear it, we tell Craig to wear it, something like that.
Well, no, you can just say I need my whip from the onesie pocket, and I'll say, well, I don't have time to put it on. And you're like, now, god damn it, and then I just reach in the pocket.
Okay, yeah, that works.
You just have to be firm about it, and then you get a thing of Cool Whip, and you're like, thanks, because that's exactly what you actually wanted. Yeah, and then you just take a mad rip off the can of Cool Whip, and you inhale the air and you pass out.
It's perfect. And then Columbo whips in and saves us.
Yeah, somebody has to, because if we're allowed to just be left to our own devices, well, I mean, there's still air left in that can of Cool Whip.
Okay, so where did we get this onesie from? Did we get it from an adventure? Was it gifted to us as a reward for something?
I mean, it's very possible that one of us actually just went into a game of poker, or actually played a game of tabletop D&D and just found it and somehow managed to take it with us outside the game.
Oh, that's interesting. Actually, maybe we were just over playing at somebody's house when we found it in a chest in their attic or something.
Maybe it was in the studio when we got there. That where the origin of the onesie is something we'll have to consider.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can come up with a totally different sketch sometime of the actual origin, like when the dwarves forged it or whatever. But I mean,
Oh, I love that. It needs to be a dramatic Lord of the Rings type introduction. You know, you get to see like hammers and anvils, and you hear the ringing out, that sound of metal on metal. You see sparks. You see the great big forge works, and then you just see like some asshole, like, I don't know. They have to just like pick it up and like shake it off like it's that chain shirt of Mithril, but it's just this bunny onesie.
yeah, all this serious time being put into developing it. Yeah, and there's a reveal as somebody holds it up, but all you see is them from the back blocking the view, and then they step away, and it's revealed.
The bunny onesie, yeah.
And so it was from that day forth that the glory of the bunny onesie was known through all the lands.
And then truth became legend and legend became myth. Yeah, yeah, okay. And then just one day we happen to be driving by and we just fish it out of a gutter somewhere at random. It's just been abandoned for hundreds of years.
Oh, maybe like you and I were dumpster diving. We were trying to get a meal.
Are we that hard up? Or are we just going to listen to Stan when he tells us that it's free and there's plenty of food there?
I don't know. My mind went several places. Sometimes, like, I don't know, OCD is funny or whatever it is. But you ADHD. You said I was like Stan told us to take a long walk off a short pier, so we did, and that's where we found the costume. But then I thought it'd be kind of funny if Stan told me to take a long walk off a short pier, and I just stepped off of your head because you're my shortest pier.
That's a bit cerebral.
Just a bit. I thought we're playing hide and seek.
Oh, that was a good one.
We're playing hide and seek at a neighbor's house, and we go hide in the attic in their wardrobe. And it seems like we're finding the way into Narnia, but we actually just find the bunny onesie.
Whatever wardrobe we find it in, we have to like open it up and a bunch of bats come out. I've always wanted to do a scene with like you open up a thing and bats come out. Why are there bats in this wardrobe? Like, the rest of the attic should probably be fairly well kept. There's no reason there should be bats, but there are.
Oh, actually, I like that. Bats come out, and then that's when we can do, what was it? Batman Returns, I think. Batman and Robin, whichever it was. We do the sting of the bat suit reveal music with it's the only piece of the only garment in the wardrobe is the bunny onesie, and it's hanging there, and the camera does a Dutch angle up to it as the serious music plays and the lightning crashes.
Oh, hell yeah, it's the reveal. This is the bat suit, but it's the bunny suit.
We open the closet and a bunch of bunnies pour out.
I think it would be a closer reference to the Batman scene if bats come out.
Bunnies with bat wings.
That's legitimately horrifying. Something definitely flies out of here, and then we do the pan up reveal shot from the low angle with the dramatic music, and then yes, the interior of this wardrobe is illuminated by a lightning bolt, which is weird because there are no windows in this attic, but who gives a shit? And there's the bunny suit is revealed. Shines bright white light over the interior, and that's the high point of the dramatic music, which might also need to be done really poorly on the recorder because that is so funny to me.
That's going to be a recurring thing.
I definitely want to at one point do the Tim Burton Batman theme really poorly on the recorder.
We'll do all of them. We'll have a Kiss from a Rose on recorder.
Do you have a recorder?
No, I have an electronic wind instrument which has a recorder setting.
That's even better. All right, so the bunny suit was forged by the dwarves of Middle Earth, and it's been in this wardrobe forever. Now we have it, and it got you a can of Cool Whip, which that was the ultra rare instance of it working exactly as you wanted it to.
Well, so I have a can of Cool Whip in that specific circumstance, but in the origin, when we first discover it and find it, do we put it on and pull out, I don't know, something that zaps us, like a wormhole of some type, something that zaps us back to home, and we just, it's like, well, that was convenient, and then we close out from there.
Yeah, could it is there one of us that it fits better than the other? Because Tucker and Todd, very different body type.
I wonder if it would be funnier because I think no one person should always be wearing it. I think it should be worn by different characters all the time.
Okay, so we're gonna go with the magic item rule of it scales to whoever's using it as necessary.
Well, see, I'm not sure if it's more funny though if it's too small or too big for some people. I think if it's Tucker sized and then Todd has to wear it sometimes and it's small and goofy looking.
Okay, then it almost scales. It gets just big enough that it doesn't get destroyed by putting it on, but it's still too tight.
Right, it's always too tight. Columbo has to wear it, and it literally is like shrunk down, like the Borat swimsuit.
He's got a wedgie in it, and like whatever passes for Columbo's camel toe.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, it is definitely funnier if it is not a comfortable fit for anybody, including Tucker. Like it probably too big for him. Maybe the sleeves like drag on the floor.
But it never breaks, it never rips.
And I guess one of us decides to try it on just for the hell of it, even though it came out of a spooky wardrobe and it's not ours. One of us tries to put it on. We check the pockets, and I guess we somehow physically pull out a wormhole, and it just sends us right back home.
Does it pull out a wormhole, or does it pull out like an extremely cliched plot device?
Describe the extremely cliched plot device, or is it actually just like a little text box that says that?
Well, I mean, that's sort of funny. If it's like a silver platter with you zoom close up, but there's a little card that says an extremely cliched plot device in like nice calligraphy.
Ooh, it has to be a super nice business card, the kind that would make Patrick Bateman really angry.
Yeah, exactly. One of those. So it's either that, or I was trying to think like something that we would have to obey to immediately change what we were doing. We can no longer just be hanging out in this attic with this wardrobe. We have to immediately go somewhere else to satisfy the plot.
So then how do we get back? Do we just stroke the card or what?
I'm thinking maybe the card. Is it magic, or the plot device is like a trowel, and the next scene is us, we're like at a plot and making a comment about how when it said it was a plot device, I didn't think it would have to do with hard labor or something like that.
Oh, I definitely want to make a joke about a farm plot at some point, but I don't know if that should be the first joke we make.
Like, because a hoe would be a plot device.
It certainly would, and at a later date, for it to just subvert the entire thing and send us to a farm, that'd be very funny. Yeah, that would be very funny. But, and this is a big but, do we want it to do its very first joke as a literal interpretation of plot?
No, probably not. I feel like it has to be something quick.
That was why I optioned the wormhole. It would just like you reach into the pocket, just hey, I think I feel something in the pocket. You pull it out and it just expands into a goddamn black hole that sucks us in, and then we just immediately transition to the studio, and we're fine. And we're like, wow, that was convenient. And then the scene immediately cuts back to that house, and it's just like in ruins.
Yeah, it had a little like aftershock.
Yeah, whatever this black hole did, we were the only thing that it did safely. Everything else is ruined.
When we make our comment about wow, that was convenient, do we make a comment about how we're like an ironic statement about how I bet it will work that conveniently every time?
Oh, maybe just like a wow. I hope this is oh damn, because we don't necessarily know that that's like an innate property of the bunny suit. We just know that it had a thing in its pocket.
Have we not found the tooltip label?
Not yet.
Oh, so is there a reveal for the audience where the tooltip label is like on the back under the hood or something like that? So we didn't see it, but as we make our comment of optimism, it zooms in close and there's like horror music.
Ooh, creepy violins or something. And another random like thunderclap, like another random lightning flash. Just
Yeah.
like they keep coming out of nowhere every time this stupid suit's involved.
Okay. I like that a lot.
And then yes, the text in the tooltip on the tag needs to be suitably foreboding.
About how it's not dependent.
Yeah, your mileage may vary.
Your mileage, parentheses, and your life expectancy.
And sometimes just like the integrity of your, you know, space-time continuum may vary.
Yeah.
Look, if this thing can just like crank out a black hole out of nowhere, it's dangerous to the fabric of space-time. That's how we're gonna wind up meeting Cthulhu or something eventually.
I mean, it's inevitable.
Yeah, except Cthulhu is really upset about all the bad press he gets. He's not that bad.
We had a reference, I'm pretty sure it was in one of the lost episodes, about somehow something something was a something that had an entity involved that became like an eldritch horror.
I really can't help it. I like Lovecraftian stuff, but I don't remember clearly what it was that we had done with that Eldritch horror.
No, it'll have to work its way in sometime. I mean, we've presented so many opportunities for ourselves to develop an eldritch horror.
Oh yeah, and I mean technically I think the Wet Ass Pacific episode does kind of involve an Eldritch horror.
Yeah, it sort of references.
Like it's got a kaiju thing, but to me, that disembodied vagina is is an actual true horror.
Well, and I mean, so I guess it's too late to be adding new. I'll add this to the premise thing, but yeah, I would like maybe next time to work on like an actual sort of like voice of 1,000 horrors sort of creature.
Oh, you want like the Eldritch entity.
Yeah, I want an ancient god.
All right. I'll bust out the Ouija board and we'll see what talks back.
Oh yeah, more devices to add to our Tucker and Todd arsenal.
We still need that Pokeball.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one too. I'm satisfied with everything that we discussed tonight, though.
Oh yeah, this has been a good run, and we are just about to ding 2 hours.
2 hours works for me. I don't think I had anything else to add.
No, I think we're just about out of steam.
I heard you yawning.
I had a very early morn.
All right, sir. Well, then I will bid you adieu until the next one.
And And remember, I'm Tucker,
And I'm Todd.
and this has been the Tucker and Todd Show.
Ugh. I was I was gonna say. Oh, what was I gonna say?
What was you gonna say?
It was about. Oh, I was gonna say. Do you think because I have basically perfected my audio editing thing, and I think from now on my plan is going to be that every time we release a sketch, the week after that I will release the video version of the in the writers room. So I'll take the audio from the podcast when we came up with that sketch, and that'll be like the in behind the scenes how we came up with the video. But are you at this point comfortable with coming up with a regular every 3 weeks or maybe every month we do a script?
I can probably bang them out faster than that. I just need to get into the swing of doing it.
I mean, every 2 weeks would be really, really cool if we could release a sketch, because we come up with 3 a week. If we could release one every 2 weeks, and then the intervening would be the inside the writer's room.
Yeah, I think a 2-week time frame is reasonable, if not generous.
Well, whatever works for you. I mean, that could also get to the point where I'm like, I can't do that much drawing every 2 weeks. So maybe every month for now.
Well, there is that, but I don't mind sticking to a script schedule and then just having a backlog of scripts. Like if we have lots of stuff to do going forward, that just makes things better.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. To have them banked always, actually. Yeah. Good planning.
Yeah, so I think a 2-week schedule for scripts is generous and definitely doable. And eventually could probably nail that down to just 1 week if I get really into the swing of it and kind of make it a mandatory daily chore.
I mean, as a personal discipline goal, that might be good. But at the same time, have you seen 6 Days to Air?
No.
Oh, it's a doc. I really recommend it. I think it's only like an hour long, maybe 40 minutes. But that's the documentary about how Trey and Matt create an episode of South Park in a week.
Did they bust their asses?
Well, they did. So that's the problem, is they do bust their asses. And they talked about in the beginning it was like once every couple months, and then it became one every month, and then it was one every couple weeks, and then we just got it. It was a matter of, well, let's remove this process and change that process. Can we actually? We can have more months off if we just bang out an episode a week. But you see the torture that they put themselves through in that like creative process. Yeah, they have a whole team of animators and voice actors and producers and all of that stuff. But when it comes down to the time that they spend in the writer's room, which is all we really do, the writer's room element, they spend so much time hating themselves and getting frustrated with each other and all of the other writers because they're putting too much pressure on themselves in that time limit. So I don't want it to get to that point.
I definitely don't want it to become a chore. It's currently very much a pleasure, but the personal discipline goal thing is primarily the point there. I will still pace myself. If I decide I hate it, I'm going to just work on a different script.
Yeah. I mean, that's the nice thing about it too, is just you can actually say, because we don't have a fucking boss of any kind to say, I hate this and I don't want to do it. You can just not do it.
Yeah, but thankfully there's the whole accountability thing. We both are accountable to each other, and I do still have to finish the cow tipping script.
Yes, Lord. I'm excited. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be funny, especially if we're doing all the voices ourselves.
Oh, I will say I sent the thank you, don't come again to my father, and it's literally the only thing that he's ever expressed approval to me for in literally anything in 30 years.
Parenting goals. I have a feeling that if I showed my mother, I still wouldn't get any of that approval that I never really got. So, but maybe I should.
You can wait until the third one's out. Make it seem like we're actually doing something.
Yeah, except I don't want to. Is that what you spend all your time doing? Not. You know what? I'm not gonna go there. I don't want to go there.
You don't want to know what I spend all my time doing.
Yeah, you really don't. Anyway, it is past our cutoff. It is time to dismiss the Craigs.
All right, Craig, thanks for showing up. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for doing your job. And also thank you, Tucker, for playing along.
Thanks for sniffing my humid buttocks, champ.
And you, Todd. And to you, Todd, a good night.
Good night.
Fuck Tucker. Tucker sucks. And fuck Tucker's friend Todd.